The Banshee, a mysterious and haunting figure in Irish folklore, is a supernatural being deeply entrenched in the island's rich cultural history. The legend of the Banshee is shrouded in both sorrow and foreboding, as this otherworldly being is often associated with death and the imminent passing of loved ones. The word Banshee is derived from the Irish term Banshee or Banshee, which translates to woman of the fairy mound. In Irish mythology, fairies were not always tiny, benevolent creatures commonly portrayed. They could also be ethereal and ominous. The Banshee is believed to be a fairy woman, often associated with particular families or bloodlines, tasked with the duty of foretelling death. Descriptions of the Banshee's appearance vary, but common elements include a woman dressed in flowing mourning clothes with long disheveled hair that she often combs with a silver comb. Some tales depict her as a young and beautiful woman, while others describe a more haggard and terrifying visage. Regardless of her appearance, the Banshee is often recognized by her mournful wail. One of the most distinctive aspects of the Banshee legend is her mournful wail, known as the keening. This eerie and piercing cry is said to be heard by those destined to die soon or by those who encounter her in the vicinity of a family home. The Banshee is often linked to specific noble families in Ireland, acting as a sort of guardian or harbinger of doom for these lineages. The legend suggests that each family has its own Banshee, and her wail is heard when a member of that family is about to die. The O'Neill, O'Brien, and O'Connor families are among those traditionally associated with the Banshee. The Banshee is not only a harbinger of death, but also a symbol of deep grief and mourning. Her wail is considered as an expression of sorrow that accompanies death, and her presence is thought to provide a form of supernatural lamentation for the impending loss. In this way, the Banshee is a complex figure, embodying both the inevitability of death and the genuine sorrow that follows. Numerous accounts and sightings of the Banshee have been reported throughout Ireland over the centuries. Here are some stories and accounts. In the coastal village of Dunberg, legend spoke of a Banshee with fiery red hair who roamed the cliffs at night. It was said that anyone who crossed her path would be doomed to a tragic fate. Fearful of the Banshee's curse, the villagers avoided the cliffs at all costs. But one young fisherman, brave and foolhardy, dared to defy the warnings. Determined to prove his courage, he ventured out all alone one moonlit night, his heart pounding with excitement. As he neared the edge of the cliffs, he saw her standing there, her hair aflame in the moonlight. The Banshee's piercing gaze froze him in his tracks, and he felt a chill run down his spine. But instead of fleeing, he called out to her, challenging her to show him his fate. With a mournful wail, the Banshee vanished into the mist, leaving the fisherman shaken but unharmed. From that day forth, the fisherman's life was marked by misfortune. His catches dwindled, his boat was wrecked in a storm, and his loved ones fell ill. He knew then that he had incurred the Banshee's wrath, and that his defiance had come at a terrible price. Another tale comes from the village of Glencoe, nestled in the misty hills of Ireland, where a young maiden named Maeve lived. She was known throughout the village for her beauty and kind heart. One evening, as Maeve was returning home from the market, she heard a mournful wailing coming from the nearby ford. Curiosity getting the better of her, she approached cautiously. There, by the water's edge, stood a spectral figure clad in flowing white robes, her long hair tangled and wild. The apparition was busily scrubbing a blood-stained cloak upon a stone. Maeve recognized her immediately as the washer at the ford, a Banshee said to foretell death by washing the bloodied garments of those destined to die. Terrified, Maeve fled back to the village to warn the others, but it was too late. The next morning, news arrived that the blacksmith's son had drowned in the river, just as the Banshee had foretold. Then there's stories of the keening woman of Connemara. In the rugged landscape of Connemara, located in Western Ireland, there's tales of a banshee-like figure known as the keening woman. According to local legend, this spectral entity can be heard wailing in the hills and valleys, particularly during times of tragedy or impending death. While no concrete evidence exists to prove the existence of the keening woman, many residents of Connemara swear by her appearance, believing her cries to be a warning from the spirit world. The O'Neill family, one of the most prominent and ancient noble families in Ireland, is said to have a special connection to the Banshee. According to legend, the Banshee of the O'Neill clan is known as the Banshee of the O'Neills or Banshee of O'Neill. Throughout the centuries, members of the O'Neill family have reported hearing the chilling wails of the Banshee preceding the deaths of their loved ones. While skeptics may dismiss these accounts as mere superstition, the belief in the O'Neill Banshee remains deeply rooted in the family's history and tradition. Even in modern times, there are occasional reports of Banshee sightings and encounters. While these accounts are often met with skepticism, they serve as a reminder of the enduring power of folklore and superstition. Some individuals claim to have heard the eerie cries of a banshee in rural areas of Ireland, particularly in regions steeped in myth and legend. While these sightings are difficult to verify, they add to the mystique surrounding banshees and their role in Irish folklore. The legend of the Banshee has also permeated popular culture, inspiring literature, film, and music. From classic works of Irish literature to contemporary horror movies, banshees continue to captivate audiences with their haunting presence. While these portrayals often take creative liberties with the original legend, they help to keep the tradition of the banshee alive in the modern world. So to conclude, the Banshee, with her mournful wail and spectral presence, remains a captivating and chilling figure in Irish folklore. Her role as a harbinger of death and the guardian of specific families adds layers of complexity to her character. While the legend of the Banshee is rooted in ancient Irish mythology, its impact resonates throughout generations, continuing to evoke a mix of fear, respect, and contemplation regarding the inevitability of life's end. The Banshee stands as a poignant reminder of the inextricable link between the supernatural and the deeply human experience of grief and loss. You know, when I was a little girl, I loved reading stories of fairies, druids, banshees. It never really resonated with me at that time that hearing the cries of a banshee is a bad omen. Honestly, she sounds terrifying. But what's better than green beer and Jameson on St. Patrick's Day? The story of the legend of the Banshee. Thanks for listening. Cheers!